Lena is 29. For 3 years straight, she has done everything right. Every month, without fail, she moves money into a high-yield savings account. No impulse purchases, no holidays she cannot afford, just discipline, patience, and a growing balance. Right now, she has £18,000 sitting there, and every time she checks it, she feels safe. She is still losing. Then there is James. 31, no deposit saved, no real plan. Eating out 4 times a week, latest phone, streaming every service. You already know someone like James. You have probably judged someone like James. He is losing too, just louder. Here is the part that should bother you. Lena is doing everything the internet told her to do, and she is still falling behind. James is doing everything wrong, and he is still ending up in roughly the same place. Neither of them can see why, because the problem is not their behavior. The problem is the game itself, rising prices, tax quietly taking a cut of every penny earned. Inflation shrinking the real value of that balance while the number on the screen goes up. The finish line keeps moving, and nobody mentions that part. I ran the numbers on what actually builds wealth in 2026. Here is what nobody is showing you. The savings for a deposit model was not built for today. It was built for a world where house prices moved slowly, wages kept up, and a few years of patience was enough to get you through the door. That world is gone. The average first-time buyer in the UK now needs over £53,000 just to begin. The model stayed. The conditions did not. Here is how the money actually works in 2026. If this is the kind of content that makes you think differently about your money, hit like and subscribe. There is a lot more coming that the algorithm will not push to you unless you do. Lena set up the automatic transfer on a Sunday evening about 3 years ago. 22nd of every month, £500 moves from her current account into her high-yield savings account before she even wakes up. She does not have to think about it. That is the point. She found an account paying 5.1%, which is better than most people she knows are getting, and she felt good about that. Smart, even. She checks the balance most months, watches it climb. There is a quiet satisfaction in seeing a number grow, and Lena has earned that feeling. She gave things up for it. Weekends away she said no to. A new laptop she put off for 18 months. She made the responsible choice again and again, and the balance reflects that. Here is what the balance does not show. The interest Lena earns is taxable. She is a basic rate taxpayer, so 20% of every pound of interest goes straight to HMRC once she exceeds her personal savings allowance. Her effective return after tax sits closer to 4.1%. Then inflation enters the picture. In the past 2 years, the real cost of everyday life has risen faster than most savings rates could follow. Strip out inflation, and the purchasing power of Lena's £18,000 has not grown the way the balance suggests. It has, in real terms, barely moved. But that is not even the hardest part. Lena has been saving toward a flat in the city she works in, a 1-bedroom, modest, sensible. In the time she has been building her deposit, average property prices in her target area rose by roughly £14 in a single year. Lena's 3 years of interest, after tax, after inflation, came to somewhere around £22 in real gain. The gap between her and that front door did not close. It widened. She is running. The finish line is running faster. And through all of it, through every automated transfer and every month of watching the number climb, Lena never once thought to ask a very simple question. The bank is holding £18,000 of her money. They are paying her 5.1% to keep it there. They did not offer her that rate out of kindness. They offered it because her money is worth something to them. But did Lena ever stop to ask exactly what the bank is doing with her £18,000? The bank took Lena's £18,000 and put it to work the same day it arrived. That is not a criticism. That is simply what banks do. The moment a deposit lands, it becomes raw material. The bank is not holding it safely in a vault somewhere with Lena's name on a box. It is moving. It is being lent out, layered, and turned into income before Lena has even closed the app. Here is the playbook. A portion of her money backs mortgage lending at rates between 6 and 7%. Another portion funds car loans sitting at 9 to 12%. And somewhere in that same pool, a slice is supporting credit card balances that carry interest rates of 24% or higher. The bank does not lend £1 for every pound deposited. Through fractional reserve banking, it lends multiples. Lena's £18,000 is not the ceiling of what they can generate from it. It is the foundation. The spread is where the machine makes its money. They paid Lena 5.1%. On the other side of the ledger, they are earning anywhere from 3 to 4 times that rate on the same capital. That gap, The difference between what they pay depositors and what they charge borrowers is called the net interest margin. It is the single most important number in a bank's business model, and Lena is sitting on the wrong side of it. There is also float income. The brief period between money moving in and money moving out generates its own returns, fees, interchange on card transactions. Every mechanism adds another layer. None of this is sinister. This is a machine operating exactly as it was designed to operate. The only question worth asking is why Lena is funding the engine instead of building one of her own. James did his homework. That matters, and it is worth saying clearly before anything else. While most people his age are either spending without thinking or saving without questioning, James went further. He opened a stocks and shares 2 years ago. He put his money into a global index fund, set up a monthly contribution, and left it alone. He understands compound growth. He knows the difference between an ISA and a standard trading account. By almost every measure, James is ahead of the curve, and he is still asking the wrong question. The first layer of the problem is time. James's plan depends on a 20 to 25-year runway before a house becomes realistic. That is not a plan. That is a hope that the property market will pause long enough for him to catch up. It has not paused in 30 years. There is no strong reason to believe it will start now. The second layer is the destination itself. Everything James is building is pointed at a single illiquid asset. A house cannot be partially sold when life changes. It cannot be rebalanced. It cannot generate income while he lives in it without significant effort. It is the most expensive, least flexible financial instrument most people will ever own, and James has made it the entire point of his wealth building. The third layer is the one most people never see. James has spent real energy optimizing the vehicle, the ISA wrapper, the low-cost fund, the automatic contributions. The vehicle is good, but he has never once stopped to question whether the destination is right. Here is the question James has never asked himself. What if the house is not actually the wealth? What if it is simply the place where wealthy people store wealth they built somewhere else first? Take £20,000. Same amount, same starting point, same year. Now watch what 3 different decisions do to it over a decade. Lena's route first. £20,000 in a high-yield savings account at 5.1% looks promising in year 1. But savings rates are not fixed. They follow the Bank of England base rate, and that rate has already begun moving. Model a realistic average of 3.8% over 10 years. Apply basic rate tax on the interest and strip out inflation. That £20,000 grows to around £24,000 on paper. In real purchasing power, after tax drag and inflation, you are closer to £21,000. The balance went up, the wealth barely moved. James does better. £20,000 in a global index ISA, left alone for 10 years at a historical average return of around 8%, grows to approximately £36,000. And because the ISA wrapper means no tax on gains or dividends, that £36,000 is the real number. No deductions waiting on the other side. This is a genuine win, and it is important to say so clearly. The ISA structure is one of the most powerful tools available to anyone building wealth in the UK, and James is using it correctly. But there is a ceiling James has not seen yet. His entire position sits in one type of asset, in one type of account, moving in one direction. When equity markets correct, and they do correct, James has no buffer, no income layer, no stable anchor. His £36,000 projection assumes he holds his nerve through every downturn between now and year 10. Most people do not. The 2026 wealth stack takes the same £20,000 and builds it differently. Global index exposure for growth. Dividend-generating ETFs for income that compounds without selling. A gilt or treasury position as a liquid anchor. The result after 10 years lands between £38,000 and £44,000. And unlike James's position, it does not depend on a single market moving in a single direction. The raw numbers are close. The structure underneath them is not. That structure is why the wealth stack wins, and that is exactly what the next section is about. Most people, when they compare investment options, look at the headline number and stop there. Highest rate wins. Biggest projected return wins. That is the wrong way to read this. The 2026 wealth stack does not win because of a single superior number. It wins because of how it is built. The stack has 3 layers. A global index ISA forms the growth engine, the same vehicle James is using, but it is not the whole picture. Sitting alongside it are dividend-generating ETFs, funds that pay out regular income simply for holding them. That income reinvests automatically, compounding without requiring a single sale. The third layer is a small position in UK gilts or treasury bonds, liquid, stable, and currently yielding between 4.5% and 5%. Not exciting, deliberately so. It is the anchor that holds when equity markets move against you. Now look at what this structure removes. There is no single illiquid event at the end of it. A house purchase is a moment where everything either works or it does not, and that moment is controlled by interest rates, survey results, chains, and timing that you cannot manage. The wealth stack has no equivalent vulnerability. It moves in layers, not in one direction toward one door. The ISA wrapper eliminates tax drag entirely. Every dividend, every gain, every reinvested penny compounds free of interference. There is no SHMRC calculation waiting at the end. And perhaps most importantly, this approach stops the race entirely. You are no longer chasing a property market that has outrun wages for 3 decades. You are building in parallel to it, quietly, on your own terms. A house is somewhere to live. Wealth is what generates options. Those are genuinely different things. And most people spend their entire working life confusing one for the other. You are probably sitting with at least one of 2 objections right now. Both are worth taking seriously. The first one sounds like this: I still want to own a home. This feels like you're telling me not to bother. That is not what this is. Home ownership is a completely valid goal, and nothing in this video is arguing against it. What this is arguing against is the idea that saving toward a deposit should be the organizing principle of your entire financial life for the next decade or longer. Here is the practical difference. Someone who builds a wealth stack first and buys a home later does so from a position of genuine strength. They are not stretching to meet a minimum deposit while carrying no other assets. They are not one interest rate rise away from their monthly payments becoming unmanageable. They buy when it makes sense, not because they have finally scraped together just enough to get through the door. Home ownership built on top of wealth looks completely different from home ownership instead of wealth. The second objection sounds like this: markets crash, at least my money in a savings account is safe. The fear behind that is real, and it deserves a straight answer. A global index fund held for 10 years has never finished that period with a negative return in modern market history. Not once. The crashes happened inside that window. The recoveries happened too. Time is the variable that changes everything. Your savings account, meanwhile, has been losing real value in most years where inflation ran above your interest rate, which, if you look at the last decade, is most years. The balance went up. The purchasing power did not always follow. Safety is a feeling. It is a very convincing one. But real safety is not a number on a screen. It is whether your money can still buy the same things in 10 years that it can buy today. Come back to Lena for a moment. She did everything the system asked. She saved consistently, chose a competitive rate, made sacrifices, and stayed disciplined for 3 years. None of that was wrong. The system she was playing by simply was not designed to produce the outcome she was working toward. It was designed to produce the bank's outcome. She was the engine, not the beneficiary. And James, he went further than most. He questioned the default, found a better vehicle, and started building something real. But he inherited the destination without examining it. He swapped the savings account for an ISA and kept the house as the finish line, never stopping to ask whether the finish line itself made sense. 2 people, 2 different levels of financial awareness, the same invisible ceiling. In 2026, the deposit is not the goal. It is the trap that looks like the goal. That is the thing worth writing down. The deposit feels like progress because it is visible, tangible, and socially understood. Everyone around you recognizes it as the responsible move. But a number sitting in a savings account, slowly losing ground to a property market that does not wait for anyone, is not a wealth-building strategy. It is a holding pattern dressed up as a plan. The real question was never how to save faster. It is this: why are you saving towards something you cannot control, instead of building something you own outright? The property market will do what it does. Interest rates will move. Life will change. But a diversified, tax-efficient, income-generating stack of assets belongs to you completely, in a way that a deposit target never will. If you want to understand how money actually moves, not how you were told it moves, subscribe to this channel. That is exactly what we are here for.